Hi, I'm Jeanette from the Enosburgh Public Library. Thank you for joining us once again for another virtual story time. Today I'm in my treehouse in springtime in Vermont, and I'm enjoying the sights and sounds of spring up here. So I thought, wouldn't it be fun to share with you a story out of Frog and Toad, our friends, their first chapter in their book that's called Spring. Frog ran up the path to Toad's house. He knocked on the front door. There was no answer. "Toad, Toad," shouted Frog. "Wake up! It's spring!" "Blah," said a voice from inside the house. "Toad, Toad," cried Frog. "The sun is shining. The snow is melting. Wake up!" "I am not here," said the voice. Frog walked into the house. It was dark. All the shutters were closed. "Toad, where are you?" called Frog. "Go away," said the voice from the corner of the room. Toad was lying in bed. He had pulled all the covers over his head. Frog pushed Toad out of bed. He pushed him out of the house and onto the front porch. Toad blinked in the bright sun. "Help," said Toad. "I cannot see anything." "Don't be silly," said Frog. "What you see is the clear, warm light of April, and it means that we can begin a whole new year together, Toad." "Think of it," said Frog. "We'll skip through the meadows and run through the woods and swim in the river. In the evenings, we will sit right here on this front porch and count the stars." "You can count them, Frog," said Toad. "I will be too tired. I am going back to bed." Toad went back into the house, and he got into bed and pulled the covers over his head again. "But Toad," cried Frog, "you will miss all the fun." "Listen, Frog," said Toad, "how long have I been asleep?" "You've been asleep since November," said Frog. "Well then," said Toad, "a little more sleep won't hurt me. Come back again and wake me up about 1/2 May. Good night, Frog." "But Toad," said Frog, "I will be lonely until then." Toad did not answer. He had fallen asleep. Frog looked at Toad's calendar. The November page was still on top. Frog tore off the November page. He tore off the December page, and the January page, and the February page, and the March page. He came to the April page. Frog tore off the April page too. Then Frog ran back to Toad's bed. "Toad, Toad, wake up! It is May now." "What?" said Toad. "Can it be May so soon?" "Yes," said Frog. "Look at your calendar." Toad looked at the calendar. The May page was on top. "Why, it is May," said Toad as he climbed out of bed. Then he and Frog ran outside to see how the world was looking in the spring. The end. All right, so I thought that it would be fun to do two songs. We'll do one, they're both interactive, and one's not really a song, it's more of a hand rhyme. So I thought we could do that together. The first one is 5 green and speckled frogs, and I'm pretty sure that most of you have done this before, but what we'll do is we'll start with the 5, and we'll go from 5 to 3, and then at 3 I'll stop, and that way you'll have heard all the lyrics, and then we'll go from 3 down to 1, and I'll have you join me for those if you haven't heard this before. So, 5 green and speckled frogs sat on a speckled log, eating the most delicious bugs. Yum, yum. One jumped into the pool where it was nice and cool. Now there are 4 green and speckled frogs. Glub, glub. 4 green and speckled frogs sat on a speckled log, eating the most delicious bugs. Yum, yum. One jumped into the pool where it was nice and cool. Now there are 3 green and speckled frogs. Glub, glub. Okay, so those are the words, and if you haven't sung this before, those are all the words to it. And now we'll do 3 down to 1. 3 green and speckled frogs sat on a speckled log, eating the most delicious bugs. Yum, yum. One jumped into the pool where it was nice and cool. Now there are 2 green and speckled frogs. Glub, glub. 2 green and speckled frogs sat on a speckled log, eating the most delicious bugs. Yum, yum. One jumped into the pool where it was nice and cool. Now there's 1 green and speckled frog. Glub, glub. 1 green and speckled frog sat on a speckled log, eating the most delicious bugs. Yum, yum. One jumped into the pool where it was nice and cool. And now there's no more green and speckled frogs. Glub, glub. Yay! Thank you, thank you, thank you for doing that. Okay, now join me for this one. This one, I know that some of you may be raising chicks right now and they may be getting ready to hatch, so I thought this would be a fun one to do. And if you don't have chicks, maybe this is the way you can hatch them. So, 5 eggs and 5 eggs together make 10. Sitting on top is the mother hen. Cluck, cluck. Crackle, 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 crackle. What's that I see? 10 baby chicks looking at me. Cheep, 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 cheep. Okay, so that's pretty short. We'll do it one more time. Try to join me if you can. 5 eggs and 5 eggs together make 10. Sitting on top is the mother hen. Cluck, cluck. Crackle, 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 crackle. What's that I see? 10 baby chicks looking at me. Cheep, 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 cheep. All right, thank you guys so much for joining us. I hope you have a wonderful day. Happy springtime, and we'll see you again.